Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you all. Let me just not forget and remove this thing real quick off of the screen so people will not get annoyed. And gone. All right. So let's cover our regular assets that we look at. Let's touch base with the stuff we normally cover. And first of all, let's say hello to everybody who joined me on this beautiful Fridays. Of course, 90, thank you very much. Leo, appreciate it. Christoph. And that's it. It appears to be like only as if all of you guys here, but I know we have a little bit more people. I can see more people joined in. Hello to everybody who cannot speak nor say hello to all of you. Absolutely. Yeah, no. Smash the like. Yeah, here we go. Here's Thomas. Happy Friday, indeed, Johnny. Good evening to all of you, to all of us, all of you, all of me, all of us together. I hope we have all a beautiful Friday. Now let's dive into this. 1 minute is kind of not interesting, although we can see we've been developing this trend for a little bit and sustained, pardon me, for the last several days. And for right now, temporarily, we've moving more or less, I would argue, more or less sideways, right, with slight discrepancies, and closing this gap that we had to close from the 10th, right? So we're moving towards this closure, the beautiful thing. We have a little bit left over. Now let's look at the 5 minutes where we can see a little bit more of that price action, see what's actually going on. As you can see, that shorter term trend basically matches the longer duration 1 minute trend. So it's the one we've been sort of within for the past, I would argue, week or so. We still have a gap above us to close, right? Blackberry, hello. Danny, good evening, good evening. We have this gap to close, which we are still, if we're looking objectively at the higher, sort of slower trend, right? The linear regression channel that we have here shows off that we're basically right now closer to the median right here. And it's far more probable that via testing this channel, the longer duration 1 minute, which we said we definitely can do, we can easily see how we also match that with the median of the larger channel and the top of the shorter range, right? So you see they kind of mix together. It's not just the one area, it's not just one force that creates this area that is far more likely to get tested, is two forces. Now, if we do end up testing this area, let's see if we have enough momentum to actually make it to the larger, to the top of the larger channel, right, the slower one, allowing us to close this gap. We understand, of course, that even if it takes some time and we end up doing this very slowly, right, and even if we end up even doing it even slower, is that not probable because the trend channel is now sort of below where the price action needs to be in order to close the gap? Not at all. That is actually a very normal phenomena. We oftentimes have slippage out of the channels. In fact, something akin to this can happen. This is not completely this is completely normal and not something we should consider impossible. So we have this. Now 30 minutes. 30 minutes is actually, again, bullish. So our prediction moving into that top of the channel, as we sort of now described it and now said potentially moving to close that gap, well, it becomes far more plausible with the shorter range. As you can see, the yellow and the red is the shorter range, the quicker channel. Shows you again where we're doing that switch over. The 30 minutes shorter channel matches the 5 minute long one, right? And the long one on the 30 minutes here just popped in. It is actually an uptrend. So what we're actually doing right now, it appears to be, is moving from what is the median of the larger channel towards the bottom of the larger channel via this smaller channel. So you see, we're actually respecting both at the same time. So again, remember, these movements that I've just showed here could be just, those are hypotheticals, just to kind of show the potential idea of how the price action might behave. We're not necessarily saying that. In fact, to be more precise, we said we have more upside right? We have, in fact, this to be more probable than, for example, that first drawing that I did. Let's make it different so we can see it stand out. Okay, that one actually makes a lot more sense, if you will. And in fact, as we said, it might test within the vicinity inside of this gap first before correcting to the downside. Yeah, howdy, boys and girls. Howdy. And so, yeah, does this confirm what we're seeing? Again, we're having more upwards momentum, right? It is a bit sketchy. Why are we saying it's sketchy? Because we're starting to see how the two forces are starting to move one towards the other, right? We're having convergence of the two forces. We know when we are green dominant, we're basically bullish dominant. In other words, we should expect an upwards trend as is, which we are starting to experience, right? We are actually able to see that upward trend that confirmed by the 45 minutes and the smaller time frames. So it appears to be that within the beginning of the next week, based upon the 45 minutes and probably 1 hour, right, we're actually bullish. So we do have the necessary momentum to move closer to closing the gap. The real question becomes, looking at the hourly, do we have what it takes to make it to the above the gap into what would be basically our upper price levels that we had so far, right, which is 6,100-ish within that vicinity, which matches perfectly with that median line. So I'm not going to be completely surprised considering how much we have more to go, the 1 hourly, and we're probably going to go into overbought territory given the confidence of this trend as it's building up, right? So we do have confirmation for what we could think potentially is positive momentum all the way into next week. All right, 4 hours. 4 hours starting to be a bit sketchy. Now, 4 hours is negative. But, well, how negative is it? Actually, it is not good. Why? Because when you're seeing that we are dominant, okay, with our D, basically the D, the red line is dominant, represents the loss of momentum. And so we're basically falling rapidly back into oversold territory. Being in oversold territory is bad within itself. But what we have noticed, when this indicator does end up penetrating the oversold territory or overbought territory, it tends to do these sort of impulse-like behavior. So yes, sometimes it doesn't do that, but most of the time it does. We can recognize these impulses and we will see them happening through the smaller time frames as we're going to be going forward. But based upon this, we could assess that before we hit with full-blown negative momentum, we will have convergence of these forces because they appear as if they might. Might not necessarily means they will. Let's look at the larger time frames, right, to assess what could be the bigger picture of that smaller picture. Now, the bigger picture here is that although being in oversold territory on the 4 hours, and by the way, the 4 hours and the daily are highly correlated, basically very similar structure, just that here it's supposed to be the price action not including the pre and post market. Here you get the including part, and so it's kind of different because you get different highs and lows, close and open basically on the candlesticks, and that subsequently creates a different average. And so not all the metrics will match between, that's actually especially visible when you look at individual assets, right? When you are looking at something like the indices, or especially depends on which contract, because those of you who are familiar, there is a continuous contract that continues to tick after the SPX closes. So this continuous contract is the global contract, and so we can see transactions. This is basically the futures contract, and thus through it we can see future actions, which basically are the ones that are missing on the regular SPX that we observe. And because we don't see them, thus the average looks slightly different. At the end of the day, you should be attentive more to the regular SPX, and the continuous contract is more for people who understand why it's useful. And I'm sorry I cannot summarize nor explain real quick when and how, under what condition, and what tools it's then useful. But really the difference is very minor. It's the same thing as seeing the futures of the S&P and looking at the regular SPX. Adjusted to that change, you can discern whether you're opening up with the gap or not. Not such a convoluted thing. Now, based upon this, although we are negative, we're not completely negative, meaning we're not breaking down yet into oversold territory, and we're already starting to see the convergence of the forces. Because we're looking at the daily chart, that means we potentially can see more negative momentum next week, right away, potentially. The thing is, this negative momentum could be mitigated significantly by everything we've seen. Also remember, it depends on how we're gonna open, how pre-market will behave before the, next week's trading actually starts up. And based upon momentum that's going to be spent during the pre-market hours, right, or on the continuous contract, we should not be that surprised if these things will get readjusted or opening up with the gap. For example, just looking at the price action that we have right now, it's not out of the realm of possibility if we close within the vicinity of the range that we are in right now, as we said, 6,050. It's not going to be completely impossible for the price action to actually dive deeper into oversold territory on the futures, right? Exercising most of this negative momentum that is similarly exists right here, right? And then what we'll end up doing is opening the week at 6,000 with a gap. And that is negative at first glance, right? At first appreciation of the situation, where we're lower, right? So, I mean, it appears to be negative. But really what it then will do is we'll generate a gap above us. The market doesn't like gaps, and it's far more probable that through generating that gap, the price action will find itself being pushed upside and thus generating enough momentum and sort of charge to actually make it to the median. That is actually very probable. So even though we might open negative, we might end up sort of using that negativity, if you will, in order to push positivity out. So this might converge actually as we flip to next week. Why? What are we seeing? We are still objectively bullish. We are not yet even converging on the weekly. So just when this week will close, if not given a significantly lower price, we will still stay diverged this way and right on the cusp of overbought territory. So I'd argue there is bullish momentum in the system, and everything we saw in the smaller time frames, in fact, will probably come to fruition. The only thing that will happen is that the daily chart will be almost like a wrench in the wheels, and it will just slow the process down. That's all it will be. Eventually, though, when that bullish momentum will be squeezed out throughout next week, we can almost project that if we squeeze this momentum, right, whatever is left, whether it's on the weekly, for example, on this side of things, we're slowly but surely getting closer to the end of the month, which we know where the real pain is hiding, right? This thing. And we know when this comes, well, when this thing really starts to dive lower, you will see the difference in the price action very rapidly and with a significant pullback, and so rapidly that people will now just remain hopeful. Does that mean that's the end and that's it, you'll not have another opportunity to sell out? No, actually, oftentimes the market tends to test these levels multiple times before breaking, unless we're going to have some black swan event, which I hope, for the sake of all of us, not really. So really what we understand under these conditions, sure, we are basically almost stuck in this almost wedge-like formation, right, for the upcoming potential month or two even. But then again, once this starts to break, whether it's going to be the upcoming month that is going to switch over within about roughly, let's call it 2 weeks, because we don't think we even have the whole 18 days left. I think we're closer in the range of like 14 days, 14 trading days altogether left. So within these 14 trading days, it does appear that we might be able to squeeze a little bit more bullish momentum, which is normal, and we predicted this. In fact, so much so that if you're objective about Palantir's channel, it can actually squeeze all the way to almost 100, right? Or maybe even to an actual 100 before the end of the year, or just on the cusp of the end of the year. Should you take that risk? That is up to you. Remember, this channel does not give financial advice. This channel just simply analyzes what we are all seeing and capable to see with our own eyes, and I'm just saying my own, crazy opinions, if you will, about what I am seeing, right? You do you. This is not financial advice. In fact, it's the opposite. It's unfinancial advice. No, but really, again, objectively speaking, now we're obviously making our way towards 77, for example, if we're looking objectively at Palantir individually. If we're looking at Tesla, again, pushing higher, not that abnormal. We said there is some bullish. Tesla and Palantir themselves have stupid amount of bullish momentum, and they seem as if they're never going to stop. But the reality is as such that eventually this bullish momentum will run out, and when the market will pull them down, and we can see actually through a day like today that you noticed, today we were pulling downwards in the price action. Today's price action was a lot, actually, well, taking us lower if you want to be objective about this, right? Because we started here, found ourselves here. And Palantir is actually able to push higher. So how can you explain that? And that's actually a phenomena that I've told you about. This is that very last moment where the market, as long as it's not crashing in full force and there is so much exuberance into individual assets, this is possible. You see, I was not lying and not being biased at all, even though I'm missing out on this. Guys, I don't have a horse in the race at the moment. And in fact, I wish I did have. Liquidity reasons had to close my position at 300 when it comes to Tesla, and Palantir according price-ish back on the downslope. And of course, I did not buy on the upslope, so here I'm basically behind $135. Shit happens, right? But does that mean I've given up on these assets? Not at all. I'll be buying in the future. Plus, don't forget, this is like, I don't know, whatever lap for me on this on these assets, so I'm not in that much pain as you would think. It's unpleasant, but sure, I'm missing out a little bit. My SQQs are in pain, actually residing right now on 28.92, which is basically underground for us, because 31.81 is our ground zero. It might be because we're getting ready for dividends. Some people are selling off. I need to check the actual, well, we don't know. We're probably going to have the X date soon. Lack of knowledge, I guess, because we are going to get dividends soon on this, and if you have a significant amount, it's not a bad thing to get some dividends to, mitigate the unpleasantry that you've been getting on the SQQ. I do believe, though, we are very, very close, or at least, I'm not liquidating my position. In fact, I'm planning to buy more. I've been planning to buy prior, but sadly, conditions made me wait a little longer. It is what it is, but I'm planning to buy still plenty of that. And that is it, boys and girls. I think we ran our course through the regular stuff. And let's see if you want a ticker or two before we adjourn today's meeting. I know today's not going to be super long, but under Leo's advice, I wasn't sure whether I should go live because I wasn't sure how many people will show up. I didn't want to interfere with people's Friday and this and that. And so, I wasn't sure whether I should do that, but Leo definitely told me, no, sir, you should do that. And so shout out to Leo, the legend, student and a community member of mine, an absolute legend and a pleasant person to speak to. I enjoy hanging out with him on a daily basis. Leo, shout out to you, goddamn legend. Much love. Also Nannies, of course. Nannies is there as well to make sure we're not going out of line. Alan is MIA sometimes, but he's there as well. Much love. Much love, sir. You definitely need to join us. Also, you need to join my Patreon. Why are you not a member of my Patreon yet? Why are you not joining all the good hangouts and this stuff? You're missing out on all the good bad stuff, all the good stuff. Come on, Alan, it's time that you join. You become full-fledged part of the thingy and hang out with us on the weekends and stuff like that. There's that. And Johnny as well. And Alan, use it. Soon the price will be going up. We're getting closer to the end of the year. The price of the Patreon. Now is a good time to do a shout out to my Patreon. Here is me, Patreon. Let me show you. Here is Patreon. It is Investory. The address is patreon.com/investory, right? It's do not sign up for these tiers. These are the tiers that are future tiers. Right now, sign up to this. You click that little clicky thingy, and now it gives you 15% off on an annual payment. And now you just pay $8.50 instead of $10 a month. Far cooler, and you get to hang out and ask me crazy questions, and we get to talk about anything and everything. And yeah, more lots of benefits and sprinkles I am probably neglecting to mention. In fact, let me be an annoying asshole now. I'm gonna bring that thing back in. Ta-da, here's the address right there. To my really cool members that chose to join but are now currently stuck in the rules, boys and girls, go to the FAQ. If you are a paying member, you have all the instructions on how to link your accounts right here, right? That go to, you have all the instructions, and it's in the FAQ channel. I mean, you see only two channels right now. You see the rules and the FAQ. Okay, so just go to the FAQ. Actually, notice what I'm saying here, that you should download the application to your computer, right? Not the phone app, not the cell phone app, the actual computer app. It's not a website. It's a program, if you will. You install it. It works a lot better, and it doesn't bottleneck your. I mean, you see, this is not my browser. This is an actual app, which works far more efficiently. And yeah, download the application. Connect your accounts. Join us. Then you'll be getting your roles. And when you'll get your roles, you'll be able to join all these wonderful channels and add tickers, and I will be able to give analysis, and we'll be able to go over these wonderful things, and we'll be able to discuss them in the main chat, and you'll be able to be preview to all the videos I work on before I make them. You see, like for example, I did say during the Hangout, I'll make it. You see, my members during the Hangout knew that I was planning to make this video, and they knew the gist of it. And so you, my members, benefit all that wonderful stuff. And so join me, yeah. And that's it. Now questions. Questions. Thank you, Greg, regarding a Triple Q update. There's not much really going with S Triple Q. I mean, if we've predicted the market will be pushing slightly higher, S Triple Q will be going up in pain. It's unpleasant, I know, but again, it's one of those things that we have to understand why we're doing this. We're getting ready for what could be so painful that eventually, even though sometimes some days it does feel like our positions are being eaten away, we're doing this for a very particular reason, under very particular conditions that we have right now. And I doubt conditions can be magically saved by Donald Trump. As amazing as it is of a businessman and as good he is will be for the economy, the damage that was done by the Democrats will be long lasting, will require at least 2 years of correction to the downside, as far as I can tell right now. Again, I could be wrong. Those are the literally the ramblings of a madman, right? Shout out Tom Nash, brother from another mother. Yeah, probably busy with the kids now. That's usually his time spending with the kids and the wife, so can't expect him to be here. But still, shout out to you, goddamn legend. And yeah, no, it's not that special. As unpleasant as it is, it's the same way I usually often describe to you guys in the community, and I say, look, imagine if you went out of home and you're planning to go to work, let's say, or whatever it is, pick up your kids from school, and on the exit you were about to take, there is an accident. All it means, you're just taking the other exit. That's it. You don't just say, you know what, I'm just let my kids hang out in school for a weekend. Yeah, no, not a big deal. Yeah. So, or just, call up work and say, guys, the exit is blocked, and they'll tell you what exit. They'll say that, you'll say that one, and then you just go, and they'll misunderstand why you're even calling them, because just take the next one. Yeah. So, absolutely. I mean, I agree that it's a good update, but there's not really a lot to update. Plus, you can always ask me in the community, and I'll always share with you guys. It's only people who are rude and unpleasant that assume weird things, but our members, right? Grant, shout out to you, goddamn legend. You guys can ask Grant how easy it is to get me to show you exactly my position. In fact, I'm lazy. I don't just write a number. I just take a picture. Don't give me super chats. God damn it. Join the goddamn Patreon. Who needs the super chats? The YouTube doesn't like me anyways. But I love you for doing that. Thank you. Your channel is for serious people, not the generalites like me. Ellen, don't get me mad. Don't get me mad, sir. Don't get me mad. If you were degenerate, you were not in the channel in the first place. You know that. Sadly, I'm not gonna get the super stickers in like a decade and a half. I mean, I'm just now Tom has just helped me again to try and figure out how do I get them to prove my address while they're not sending me the code for the 4th month now and a half, I think, for 5th-ish. So, I mean, you can guys check. I'm not sure even how long this shit is happening. What, 4th maybe? Yeah, we're still in the 4th. Anyway, I think. Bottom line is, I'm not gonna see nor able to have any access to that money in months from now at best. At best. Just letting you know. That's why, guys, don't subscribe to be a member on YouTube. Not yet. It's not working all that out all too well. I don't know why. I have my own assumptions, but the point being is that when you do get to join the Patreon, it's not about that. It's the automatic system that sort of keeps things in check and order. Everything is clean. We're not going to have any, bullshit members, and you get to enjoy Hangouts properly and actually ask me a lot of cool questions, and then we have the time and I go in depth and explain the assets, the sectors, the correlations between the assets, show you charts. I mean, you can ask any member here, from Polina to Nanny to Stonks even. I mean, all of us. Useless, I don't have to tell you, I'm not talking to you directly about that one. You yourself know that, come in, hang out, and I'll be more than happy to analyze all that stuff with you. So, yeah. The more you guys are members, the more you get to enjoy benefits. Even me, even Leo. Unbelievable. Even Leo, yes. Leo is the worst of them. We are missing Brad, though. Brad is MIA, missing in action. He's been abducted by the enemy. Boys and girls, we need to go and save Brad. Saving Private Brad. Me. Blackberry, no, you need to come and join more. Absolutely, no. Shout out to all of you legends, all the community members, those who get to join the lives, those who don't get to join the lives, all of you boys and girls. I really enjoy hanging out with all of you. And as Leo and I were just talking about this is to me not just, I mean, it's cool, and if eventually it will actually mean a couple of dollars above the money I spend on top of the Discord and all that crap, right? That will be nice. I'm not going to be against it, absolutely. But really what it is that the community, guys, don't forget I used to work on trading floors that used to be teeming with life and just super energetic and a lot of information. I didn't have to go and research everything that was going in the market. I was curious about certain things caught my eye. I was busy with those things. And when in the morning we, the agents, spoke to each other, believe it or not, a lot of the things I missed, I would be informed about from my peers and vice versa. And so the community thing, oftentimes you'd be surprised how many things the community informs me about. It's impossible to follow. The market is so big, so vast. It is literally impossible to follow everything and know everything at the same time. So the community for me is actually something that I tremendously enjoy and otherwise would be missing. So, I mean, yeah, I really enjoy you guys. If you think you're overloading me, no. When you guys know, when yesterday I was tired, I just didn't show up because I was tired. Still human at the end of the day and all that, but I really love doing our stuff that we do. Dude, I'm working all the time. Same, likewise. I know Blackberry. I'm basically at work 24/7. Even when I'm just I'm here all the time. Unless I'm out of home, and I mean, you guys know there's basically although now it's a little bit better, right? I mean, we can actually move a lot freely right now, move about in the country and all that. The things are kind of improving, but we're not really, unless we need to, want to run around and be not in a safe place or too far from a shelter. So, absolutely. No, man, I appreciate every single one of you, whether you just join the lives, whether you join the Discord itself on a daily basis, whether you join only the weekend hangouts. It doesn't matter. Whatever contribution you give to the community, I'm tremendously grateful, and I'm not from the bottom of my heart, but from the core of my soul. This what makes a community, not just me sitting there rambling, but your guys' question, your guys' contribution, your guys' participation. That's what makes it a community at the end of the day. And yeah, the goal is to make it just as big as Tom's, is not even bigger, right? Tens of thousands of people. That is the intention. It's just gonna take time, just like Tom's took time. mine will as well. In fact, mine is going to be 100% private, so it's going to be a little bit of a process. But yeah, the more people you tell about my channel, the more people you talk about and show and share and whatnot, the more people will be here, and inevitably, inherently, we're going to have a bigger community with more fun and more conversation and more tickers to look at and whatnot. Any nice Christmas plans, Greg, or are things still chaotic? Danny, Christmas is very much a family kind of celebration, and so I guess just celebrating with my family, hanging out with my father, mother, brother, his girlfriend. I'm not currently dating. I'm single. As with my beautiful hair, I am single. I'm very picky and choosy, and very annoying, and yeah. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe I'll get that fixed by Christmas. I'll work on that. But considering how long my working hours and my actually the real reason is that I'm really picky and choosy, and like really picky and choosy. Those of the members here that spoke to me and know my taste in women. What the dating? What? I'm not sure, Christoph. Or fix the hair. What? Fix the dating, not the hair. The hair is good. What do you mean? Why do I need to fix my hair? Hey. But yeah, no, I'm very picky and choosy. And unlike a lot of men, I'm not in a rush into a relationship. I've had the great luck of, or the unpleasant luck, I guess, but dating and hanging out with plenty of women throughout the years and recognizing what it is that I like. And in general, my sort of character and characteristics and mindset allowed me to figure out exactly what it is that I like. And I can tell you it is rare. It's just very rare. And I'm looking, but it's hard to find. It is what it is. Hopefully someday. But okay, yeah, I will. So yeah, that's so that's why. I mean, otherwise, if I would have had a girlfriend or a wife, I would be doing the same thing with her, with my family. That's the thing. It's a family-oriented holiday. Being somebody who grew up in the Soviet Union, the post-Soviet Union, in the Soviet Union area, vicinity, if you will. I went for a pee and came back, and now we're talking about Greg's dating world. What's going on? Johnny, that one's one hell of a pee, man. But yeah, no, actually we're talking about the holiday and how it is a very family-oriented holiday, and so I would be spending it with family members one way or another, regardless whether being married or dating. And yeah, I mean, Christmas, it's, in Russian culture, it is a holiday you celebrate with your closest family, the people you really love. And it's all about good food and the Russian Santa Claus, or in other words, Ded Moroz. And yeah, absolutely. That is, what Christmas is all about. So it's going to be about family. I would hang out with the family. I believe all of you would do the same thing, and that's what this holiday should be all about. Nice question, though. Nice question. You'd be surprised. Actually, in Israel, there are plenty of people who celebrate Christmas or a form of it, or really the end of the year. And in fact, even the Jewish people, the Israeli Jewish people who are native to Israel or more Moroccan or from more less Ashkenazi kind of origins, more Mizrahi, they also kind of throughout the years ended up joining us in celebrating the end of the year. And so I can actually tell you some of the best parties throughout the year in Israel would be Christmas parties. Those are pretty much some of the best ones around that we have. They're just an absolute blast. Everybody having a blast. And yeah, just to let you know. So if you're in Israel, you can actually enjoy Christmas. I'm not even kidding. It's a thing here. So that's it, boys and girls. If there are no further questions about the market, sure, join the Patreon, join the community. Israeli women truly look like the ones I would like to date. Fun topic, so please go on. Johnny, come and visit. I mean, look, Israeli women, if you think about it, they are a mix of women from all over the world. When first of all, during World War II, a lot of Jewish people were, gathered to Germany. A lot of them escaped to Israel eventually. And so you had a concentration of various genetic sort of makeups, right? The templates, if you will, while still being Jewish, because a lot of these people came from different places, different diets, different, facial structure, all sorts of things. You'd be surprised, in fact, how widespread sort of and how just wide the array of types of Jews there are. And in fact, I think I've mentioned multiple times, again, Google that just to make sure I'm correct, but I'm pretty fairly sure at some point there was even an Eskimo Jewish family. They were like so unique, they were Googleable. I mean, at this point, they're just another Israeli family. They've been here for so long. I think that was a thing when I was a kid. And I mean, you can imagine they're basically just Israeli by now, right? Full-fledged. You cannot call them anything but, right? But originally they came from somewhere, I think North Pole or something. I mean, I don't want to say somewhere, some weird place that's very cold. I don't want to mislead you, but from somewhere. Uh, from Santa. They're Santa's neighbors. I'm kidding, of course. But no joke. And so the serious matter is that you had any sort of a wide variety of Jewish people from all places of the world, and genetics just works in this fun way that the more you mix it, the better it gets, right? And I mean, I would argue that we have good-looking women like anywhere else, right? It's just that here we have a mix of a lot of other places because of some of these women actually came from other places. Their mothers and fathers came from these places, and so they are a lot more genetically similar to these other women. And now that you've started mixing all these beautiful, people together, you get really awesome, beautiful mixes. So yeah, Israel kind of, the beauty about it really, it almost has an offer for everyone. It's just the question is how intelligent a particular woman is, or the threshold that you're looking for. And I'm not saying all our women are dumb, not at all. In fact, we have plenty of smart women. It's just that maybe I was not lucky to meet some of them before they got married, and I'm not exactly the person to go out and steal married women. Not my thing. And then goes Friday edition. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it almost resembles how the office work would be when you have casual Friday, and the whole vibe is very different, very Friday-like. But it wasn't me. You guys asked the questions. I'm just answering the questions. Yeah. But anyways, boys and girls, on that note, now that we've rambled on and on about irrelevant things that are basically more relevant to Israel and stuff, completely irrelevant to most of you and probably not interesting. Pardon me for that. I hope you enjoyed today's stock part, right? The regular part we've done. Don't forget what it is that we expect for next week. Let's not get too surprised if we open up as usually through the weekend with a gap, right? And so the market will be more volatile than usual in the beginning of the week. We'll stable out. We'll see based upon how big the gap will be, whether we're going to have one at all altogether. But we shouldn't be surprised if we will have a significant gap, as we normally have throughout the weekends. And so subsequently, we'll have a bunch of chores to fix. And I'll see the members probably on the weekend. There is a plan to have a members hangout. I'm not sure whether yet it's going to be a Saturday or a Sunday. I'll try to inform you on the message board on Discord as soon as possible, as soon as I'll know. It probably will be a Sunday. As far as I understood, Sunday is a little bit better, a little bit more convenient for people than Saturday for some reason, but we'll see. And yeah, that's it. That's it, boys and girls. You all have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully, I'll see some of you over the weekend. And those who not yet members should sign up so that they will be able to join us over the weekend. And yeah, that's it. See you on the next one, boys and girls. Bye-bye for now.